Hello dear students, and this week we are talking about stratification. Actually, this week I am introducing the topic of stratification, but for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will be looking at different types of stratification. So this week, we are talking about what stratification is. We'll touch upon some basic dimensions of stratification, different theories justifying stratification, and we'll also get familiar with some of the people who've contributed to the scholarship on social stratification. Now, before we begin, I think it would be worth noting and defining what is stratification. Stratifications, the way that we know them, the way that sociologists relate to them, are the sort of divisions that exist in the society. There may be lots of different divisions and inequalities based on people's gender, based on people's age, based on people's income, based on people's ethnic group belonging or their race. And as we will see in future, it's also about divisions based on where people are coming from, the geographical location. All right, so all of these divisions have something to do with the people, with the social interaction. And this is the reason why we call stratification as social stratification. So this week, this first week of stratification, we are mostly talking about social stratification, which is based on income inequalities. Income inequality is a difference between the rich and the poor, okay? Between the amount of money made by the rich and by the poor. The more inequalities there are, the less egalitarian society is. All right, so you should keep this formula in mind throughout this week and throughout the next weeks on stratification. The biggest question that has bothered many decision makers, state leaders, thinkers, sociologists, scholars, has been how to distribute the resources which are quite scarce among the people living in that society. There are lots of different groups within any particular society. So how should the government distribute the limited resources among all these people so as to ensure equality and justice? So this is the number one question. And social stratification is based exactly on how these resources are being distributed. Seldom, if ever, these resources are distributed equally. There are lots of different factors that really impede the process of distributing these resources. There are differences in the social rank, and these differences appear in virtually all human societies. So some people occupy a higher rank than others. Some people are more influential, more powerful because they are richer than others. Some people, they occupy some traditional authority, and because of this, they have more leverage, they have more power to influence the lives of the people surrounding them. Okay, so you see there are lots of different social ranks based on status, based on prestige, based on power, and based on social class. Social stratification refers to the structure of social inequality in each society, the manner in which the resources and social rewards are distributed among the different social categories. So you see, social stratification is looking at how the resources are distributed in the society. According to what principle, according to what guidelines should the resources be distributed on the basis of what class do people occupy, on the basis of what gender they have, on what age they are. So you see, it's a very tough question. How do you need to approach the distribution of resources, the allocation of resources, to make sure that there is justice and social equity? So obviously, social stratification is a social phenomena. Just like deviance is, just like culture is, it's a human-made construct. Social stratification would not have existed without the people interacting with each other. A system of stratification in any group or society is not determined by the biological characteristics of individuals or by some supernatural laws. Okay, it's the people, it's the social groups, it's the societies who create these basic guidelines, who create these criteria among which people should be divided. among which and based on which resources should be distributed. So instead, a system of stratification results from human actions in both the present and the past. So the present day inequalities that exist nowadays in Kazakhstan, they are so because they have existed before in the past. So the previous generations of people living in Kazakhstan have created the existing source system of inequalities. Earlier generations, and I already mentioned this, create a system of stratification that influence each generation. Now, the question of whether some generation may change, may modify the existing social stratification system is an absolutely different question, okay? And for the time being, let's just look at the nature of stratification. Now, there are 3 dimensions of stratification, and according to Max Weber, these dimensions are class, status, and power. Now, class is a social ranking made on the basis of economic factor. That is, you belong to some particular class based on how much money you make, based on your monthly income. All right, so if you live in Kazakhstan and if you are making a salary of, let's say, 50,000 tenge a month, I would have no doubts in labeling you as a person who belongs to a working class. But if your salary is more than 300 or 400,000 tenge, then probably you belong to either a middle or an upper class. Okay, so this is the first and the foremost, the most important dimension of stratification. Second dimension is the one based on status. A status in the context of stratification refers to social ranking on the basis of prestige. That is, the esteem, honor, social approval accorded to an individual or a group. Some people, they occupy a higher status in the society not because of their higher class, not because they belong to a higher class, not because they are richer than others. Okay, there are actually many people who are not very rich, but these people are quite influential. Their opinion really counts. Okay, their opinion really shapes the public opinion. Now, who these people are? These people are some artists, celebrities, some national heroes, intellectuals, poets, historians, scholars probably, okay, some politicians, the most widespread type of individuals who occupy a higher status in the society, not based on their income. Now, the final dimension is power. A power is a social ranking based on the ability to make others do what you want them to do, even despite their own will, even despite their own wishes. Now, think of some road policeman, traffic policeman. Is he rich by the Kazakhstani standards? I don't think so. Are the traffic policemen really respected in Kazakhstan, like aksakals or something? I doubt. But would you really do what the traffic policeman is ordering you to do? Yes, you would, because they possess a power, all right? So from this point of view, people are divided by the amount of power that they possess. You're either a politician, a very influential, powerful person, or you are a very powerless person. So homeless people, librarians, school teachers, let me think of some other categories, war veterans. Do you think these people are really powerful? Well, I don't really think so. But think of yet another category of people like bureaucrats, politicians, like akims and deputies of the parliament, certainly are very powerful. Okay? So these are the 3 basic dimensions of stratification.